At 45, Helena discovered that being invisible hurt less than watching her 12-year-old daughter Maya shiver on a bus station bench. After losing everything caring for her sick mother, Helena became homeless, fighting for dignity while the world closed every door. Hidden in her backpack was one last secret, a heavy key and a map her grandmother left 25 years ago, with a note reading, "Helena, when the world becomes too cruel and you have nowhere left to run, take your daughter to the forest, but never break the seal before it's time." Exhausted, feet wounded from walking, they arrived at the old mountain cabin, a place the family dismissed as worthless. Heart pounding, Maya holding her hand in fear. Helena used her last strength to break chains and boards protecting that place for 25 years. Stay until the end, because when the door opened and light revealed what was hidden inside, Helena fell to her knees breathless. What Grandma Rosa kept secret for 25 years wasn't just shelter, but a miracle proving they were never alone, changing Maya's life forever. The bus station's fluorescent lights buzzed with that cold hum, making everything hopeless. 2 a.m. Helena sat on hard plastic, arm wrapped protectively around Maya, who tried sleeping, despite cold seeping through thin jackets. Helena's eyes were dry from exhaustion, but sleep wouldn't come. She'd learned not to sleep in public. Someone had to stay alert. Someone had to protect her daughter. She looked at Maya's face, so young, lips slightly blue from cold. Helena pulled her closer, trying to transfer whatever warmth remained. How had it come to this? 6 months ago, Helena was different. She worked as a nurse's aide. Nothing glamorous, but honest work paying bills. Small apartment. Maya had her own room with band posters, food in the refrigerator, heat in winter. Then her mother got sick. Stage 4 cancer. Doctors said maybe 6 months. Helena's siblings scattered, offering sympathy over phones but little else. "We have our own families," her brother said. So it fell to Helena, always Helena. She took leave to care for her mother full-time. Medical bills piled immediately. Insurance covered some things but not others. Gaps everywhere. Medications costing hundreds. Treatments requiring co-pays she couldn't afford. Helena depleted savings first, then maxed credit cards, borrowed from friends who stopped calling. She sold everything valuable. Her mother's jewelry, her car, Maya's laptop she'd saved to buy. Her mother lasted 7 months. 7 months fighting, hoping, praying. 7 months of Helena reading to her at night, holding her hand through pain, helping her when she couldn't walk. Then she was gone. Helena expected grief, the emptiness feeling like a wound. What she hadn't expected was the debt avalanche, funeral costs, remaining medical bills, credit card companies calling constantly. Then the landlord's notice, 3 months behind on rent. Pay or vacate. She tried returning to work, but her position was filled. She applied everywhere. Months out of workforce made her radioactive to employers. "We'll keep your resume on file." Polite rejection. The eviction notice came on Tuesday, 7 days. Helena sat on the apartment floor surrounded by boxes, trying to figure out what to do. She called every shelter, all full, waiting lists months long. Social services was sympathetic, but offered little help. She was caught in the gap, making too much from unemployment for some programs, too little to survive. On the 7th day, she and Maya packed what they could carry and walked out for the last time. That was 3 weeks ago. Since then, survival mode. Days in libraries pretending to read while charging phones, bathroom sinks for washing, soup kitchens when open, granola bars when not. Nights rotating between bus stations, park benches when weather allowed. Once a diner where a sympathetic waitress let them sit for hours nursing one coffee. Helena tried shielding Maya from the worst, made it sound like camping, a road trip. But Maya was 12, not stupid. She saw fear in her mother's eyes, heard her crying quietly at night. Now, in harsh station light, Helena felt something breaking inside. She couldn't do this anymore. Couldn't watch her daughter shiver and pretend everything would be okay. She reached into her backpack, pulling out few possessions. Change of clothes, Maya's favorite book, family photos, and at the bottom, wrapped in plastic, a zippered pouch she hadn't opened in years. Helena's hands trembled unzipping it. Inside, a heavy brass key, old and tarnished. Next to it, a hand-drawn map on yellowed paper. Beneath both, a letter in her grandmother's handwriting. Helena had been 20 when Grandma Rosa died. She remembered the funeral, the will reading, relatives fighting over the estate like vultures. Rosa owned a modest city house, sold and proceeds divided. some savings, also divided, and a mountain cabin 3 hours north. Nobody wanted the cabin. Helena's uncle drove up once, came back shaking his head, falling apart, not worth property taxes. The family decided to let it go. But before dying, Rosa called Helena to her bedside, pressing this pouch into her hands. "This is for you," Rosa whispered, voice weak but urgent. "Only you, Helena, not your siblings, not your cousins." "What is it, Grandma?" "Insurance. For when life gets hard, and it will, Mija, you have too good a heart. People will use you, take from you until there's nothing left. When that day comes, when you have nowhere else to turn, take this key and map. Go to the cabin, but promise me something." "Anything, Grandma. Don't open it before you need it. Don't go from curiosity, only when there's no other choice. Understand?" Helena nodded, not understanding but not wanting to upset her dying grandmother. She took the pouch, tucked it away, honestly forgot about it for years, but now, sitting in a station at 2 a.m. with her homeless daughter sleeping against her, Helena understood. There was no other choice. She opened the letter Rosa had written. "My dearest Helena, if you're reading this, the world has been cruel to you. Your kindness was exploited, your generosity exhausted. You need help no one else will give. I'm sorry I'm not there to help you myself, but I prepared something for you, something the others don't know about. The cabin isn't what they think. I kept it sealed, kept them out, preserved it for you. When you have nowhere else to go, take your daughter there. The key will open everything. Trust me, Mija. Trust that I loved you enough to plan for this day. The cabin is your sanctuary. Use it. You deserve it. With all my love, Grandma Rosa." Helena read it 3 times, tears streaming. Maya stirred. "Mum," she mumbled. "Are you okay?" Helena wiped her eyes, tried smiling. "Yes, baby. I figured out where we're going next." "Where?" Helena held up the key and map. "We're going to see Grandma Rosa's cabin." Maya looked confused. "The one that's falling apart? Uncle Mike said it was condemned." "Uncle Mike said a lot of things that weren't true," Helena replied, folding the letter carefully. "We're going to trust Grandma Rosa. She said it would be our sanctuary." "What's a sanctuary?" "A safe place, where nothing can hurt us, where we can rest." Maya nodded slowly, scared but hopeful, more hope than Helena had seen in weeks. "How do we get there?" Helena checked the bus schedule. There was a route going north, passing through mountain towns. They'd take 2 buses, probably walk miles from the last stop, but it was possible. "We'll figure it out, we always do." She gathered belongings, offered her hand to Maya. The girl took it without hesitation, trusting completely. Walking toward the ticket counter, Helena felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. Fragile, like a candle flame in wind, but there. Helena bought 2 tickets with last cash. Next bus wouldn't leave until 4 hours away, but okay. They could wait. As sunrise painted the sky pink and gold outside station windows, Helena held Maya close and whispered a prayer. "Please, please let this be real. Please let there be something there for us. We need a miracle, Grandma." "Somewhere, perhaps." Rosa's spirit smiled. The bus ride took most of the day. Helena and Maya sat in back, watching the city give way to suburbs, then farmland, then dense forest as they climbed into mountains. Each mile, the air grew cooler, cleaner. Maya pressed her face against the window, watching trees blur past. So long since they'd left the city. So long since she'd seen anything green and alive. "Mum," she said quietly, "do you think Grandma Rosa's cabin will be okay?" Helena wanted to lie, promise everything would be perfect, but she'd learned false hope was worse than no hope. "I don't know, sweetheart. Your uncle said it was in bad shape, but Grandma Rosa's letter said it was preserved, that she kept it sealed for us. We'll find out. What if there's no electricity or running water? Then we'll figure it out. We're good at figuring things out, aren't we?" Maya nodded, unconvinced. The first bus took them to Pine Ridge, a small mountain town. 2-hour layover, so Helena used time buying supplies at a dollar store. Flashlight, batteries, 2 water bottles, crackers. Took almost all remaining money, but they'd need these if the cabin was as remote as the map suggested. The second bus was smaller, more like a shuttle making stops along the mountain highway. Helena watched the map carefully, tracking progress. According to Rosa's directions, they needed off at mile marker 37, where an old logging road intersected the highway. When they reached the spot, Helena rang the bell, gathered bags. The driver looked concerned. "You sure you want off here, ma'am? Ain't nothing out here but trees." "We're meeting family," Helena lied smoothly. "They're picking us up." The driver didn't look convinced but opened the door. Helena and Maya stepped out into cool mountain air and the bus drove away, leaving them standing on a lonely highway with nothing but forest. Maya looked around nervously. "Mom, there's nobody here." "I know, baby. We have to walk from here." Helena pulled out the map, oriented herself. According to directions, they needed to follow the old logging road approximately 3 miles into forest. The cabin would be at the road's end, in a clearing near a creek. 3 miles didn't sound like much, but the logging road was overgrown, difficult. Branches grabbed at clothes, roots tried tripping them. Afternoon sun filtered through canopy above, creating light and shadow patterns. Helena's feet, already sore from weeks of walking on city pavement, began throbbing. She could see Maya struggling too, but the girl didn't complain, just kept walking, kept trusting. After what felt like hours but was probably 90 minutes, they rounded a bend and saw it. The cabin. Helena stopped so suddenly Maya bumped into her. "Is that it?" Maya whispered. Helena couldn't speak, just nodded. The cabin sat in a small clearing, surrounded by towering pines, bigger than Helena expected. Not a tiny shack, but a proper 2-story structure with a covered porch and stone chimney. But what struck her most was its state. It was completely sealed. Heavy wooden boards nailed across every window. The door covered with boards too, secured with 3 heavy chains, each locked with industrial padlocks. Tall grass and weeds had grown around the foundation. Vines crept up the sides. But despite overgrowth, despite boards and chains, the structure itself looked solid. Roof appeared intact. Walls were straight. This wasn't a ruin. This was a building deliberately and carefully closed up. "Why is it all boarded up like that?" Maya asked. Grandma Rosa wanted to make sure nobody got inside. She wanted to keep it exactly as it was until we needed it. She approached the porch carefully, testing each step. Wood was weathered but solid. Helena pulled out the brass key Rosa had left her, 3 padlocks securing chains across the door. The key was large, old-fashioned, and for a terrible moment, Helena thought it wouldn't fit. But when she slid it into the first padlock, it turned smoothly. The lock opened with a satisfying click. "It works," Maya breathed. "Mom, it actually works." Helena moved to the second padlock. Again the key fit perfectly. Again the lock opened. The third lock was more stubborn, corroded by years of mountain weather. Helena had to wiggle the key, apply pressure, hands shaking. Finally, with a grinding sound, it gave way. Chains fell to the porch with a heavy clatter, but the door was still covered with boards. Helena had nothing to pry them off. She looked around desperately, spotted a loose rock near the foundation. She used the rock like a hammer, pounding at board edges where nails had been driven in. Wood was old, somewhat brittle. After several minutes, the first board came loose, then the second, then the third. Maya helped pull boards away, revealing the door beneath. Solid oak, weathered but beautiful, with an iron handle shaped like a mountain lion. Helena tried the handle. Locked, of course. She looked at the keyhole. Old-fashioned, much larger than modern locks. She tried the brass key, it fit. She turned it slowly, feeling internal mechanisms moving after 25 years. Resistance, then a heavy thunk as the bolt slid back. Helena looked at Maya. The girl's eyes were wide with mixed fear and excitement. "Ready?" Helena asked. Maya nodded. Helena pushed the door open. Hinges creaked, a long, low sound echoing into darkness beyond. Stale air rushed out, smelling of dust and age, but not decay, not rot. Just time. Helena pulled out the flashlight, turned it on. The beam cut through darkness, revealing the cabin's interior, and both gasped. The journey to reach the cabin had been more than physical distance. It was crossing from one life to another, from desperation to possibility. As Helena and Maya stood in the doorway, taking their first look inside the cabin sealed for 25 years, they both understood they'd reached a threshold in more ways than one. But before they could fully enter, before claiming this sanctuary Rosa prepared, there was still work to be done. The front door was open, but windows remained boarded. The cabin was dark inside, and though air wasn't foul, it was thick with mustiness. "Wait here just a minute, baby," Helena told Maya, setting bags on the porch. "Let me make sure it's safe inside." She stepped through the doorway, sweeping flashlight around the interior. The light revealed a large open space serving as both living room and kitchen. Furniture, couch, chairs, dining table, all covered with white sheets turned gray with dust. The kitchen had an old cast-iron stove, wooden counters, open shelving still holding dishes and glasses. Everything was intact, untouched, preserved. Helena's eyes filled with tears. Rosa had done exactly what her letter promised. She'd sealed this place tight, keeping it frozen in time, waiting for the day Helena would need it most. "Is it okay?" Maya called from the doorway, voice small and uncertain. "It's more than okay. Come in, sweetheart. Come see." Maya stepped inside cautiously, eyes adjusting to dim light. Helena handed her the flashlight so she could explore, while Helena went back outside to tackle the boarded windows. Using the same rock from the door, Helena began working on window boards. Hard, tedious work. Her hands were already blistered, and each blow sent vibrations up her arms. But she kept going, driven by need to let light into this space. As she worked, she thought about all the steps leading her here. The sacrifices caring for her mother, watching her own life unravel. The humiliation of losing her home, becoming invisible. The fear gripping her every night, always protecting Maya. Each board that came free felt like shedding a piece of that burden. The sun was starting to set by the time she finished with front windows. Golden light streamed into the cabin, illuminating dust motes dancing in air. Helena went inside to see the transformation. With light flooding in, the cabin looked entirely different. The furniture, once sheets were pulled away, was well made and sturdy. The couch had faded floral fabric, reminding Helena of childhood visits to Rosa's city house. The dining table was solid oak with 6 matching chairs. There was a rocking chair by the fireplace, and next to it a basket still holding knitting needles. Maya had ventured into the kitchen area. "Mom, look, there are still things in the cupboards." Helena joined her, opened cabinet doors. Inside were canned goods, jars of preserves, packages of pasta and rice. Most were old, labels faded, but canned food could last years if stored properly. There were also sealed containers of flour, sugar, and salt. Grandma Rosa stocked it. She stocked it like she was preparing for us to arrive. In another cupboard they found candles, matches sealed in plastic bags, oil for lamps, and 2 kerosene lanterns. There was also a hand-crank radio and a first aid kit. She thought of everything. She knew we might not have electricity. She knew we would need light and food and supplies. Maya found something on the kitchen table, picked it up. It was a laminated card with instructions written in Rosa's handwriting. "Helena, water pump is out back, handle needs priming. Outhouse is past the woodshed, I kept it stocked. Firewood is stacked on north side, covered with tarp. Creek is 30 yards east, safe for washing but boil for drinking. Check pantry closet in my bedroom. I left something special there. Make this place a home again. You deserve a home. Love always, Grandma Rosa." Helena read the card 3 times, tears streaming. Her grandmother had thought of everything, every detail, every need. She'd prepared this place like a lifeboat. They spent the rest of daylight hours opening up the cabin completely. Helena removed boards from all windows. They swept floors, shook out sheets and blankets they found in a linen closet, wiped down kitchen surfaces. As sun set behind mountains, painting sky in brilliant shades of orange and purple, Helena got one of the kerosene lanterns working. Warm golden light filled the main room. "I'm hungry," Maya admitted quietly. Helena opened one of the cans of soup, chicken noodle, Maya's favorite. The expiration date had passed years ago, but the can wasn't bulging or rusted, and when she opened it, contents smelled fine. She heated it on the cast-iron stove, using wood from the stack outside. As soup warmed, filling the cabin with its homey smell, Helena felt something inside her chest she hadn't felt in so long. Peace. They ate soup from chipped bowls at the dining table, lamplight flickering around them. Simple food, nothing special, but it tasted like the best meal Helena had ever eaten because they were eating it in safety, in warmth, in a place that belonged to them. After dinner, they explored the second floor. 3 bedrooms, each furnished with bed, dresser, and small closet. The beds had been stripped, but they found sheets and quilts in the linen closet downstairs. Maya chose the smallest bedroom, which had a window overlooking the creek. Helena helped her make up the bed with clean sheets and a heavy quilt, smelling faintly of cedar. "This is my room?" Maya asked, as if she couldn't quite believe it. "This is your room, your very own room." Maya sat on the bed, bouncing slightly to test the mattress, and then she did something Helena hadn't seen her do in weeks. She smiled, a real, genuine, uncomplicated smile of pure happiness. Helena felt her heart break and heal at the same time. This was what she'd been fighting for, this moment, this smile, the chance for her daughter to feel safe and happy again. "I'll be right next door. If you need anything at all, you just call out, okay?" "Okay, Mom." She paused, then added, "Thank you for bringing us here. Thank you for not giving up. Helena knelt beside the bed, took her daughter's hands. Maya, listen to me. I will never give up on you. Never. No matter how hard things get, I will always find a way to take care of you. Do you understand? Maya nodded, tears in her eyes. I love you, Mom. I love you too, baby. More than anything in this world. Helena kissed her daughter's forehead, tucked the quilt around her. Maya was asleep within minutes. Helena stood in the doorway for a long moment, watching her daughter sleep peacefully. Then she went back downstairs and explored the rest of what Rosa had left for them. But first, she had something to investigate. Rosa's note mentioned a pantry closet in her bedroom with something special. Helena had seen the bedroom, the largest one, at the end of the upstairs hall, but hadn't gone inside yet. Now, with Maya sleeping safely and the cabin secured for the night, Helena climbed the stairs again and pushed open the door. Helena had expected a closet, perhaps hanging clothes, boxes of keepsakes, maybe old photo albums, or inherited china Rosa wanted to preserve. What she found instead made no sense at all. The closet was deep, extending far back into space carved from the cabin's structure, and it was filled, floor to ceiling, with wooden crates, cardboard boxes, and items wrapped in heavy canvas tied with rope. Helena set the lantern down carefully, reached for the nearest box. Heavy, solid, and when she pulled back the canvas wrapping, she found herself looking at an oil painting in an ornate gilt frame. The painting depicted a mountain landscape at sunset, rendered in rich, vibrant colors. In the corner, barely visible, was a signature. Helena didn't recognize the name, but something about the style seemed professional. This wasn't amateur art. This was something valuable. She unwrapped another item, another painting, this one a portrait of a woman in 19th century dress, and another, a still life of flowers. There were at least a dozen paintings, each wrapped carefully, each preserved perfectly, but there was more. In wooden crates, Helena found carefully packed porcelain figurines, silver tea sets, antique jewelry boxes, and books, old books with leather bindings and gold leaf. There were coins in velvet-lined cases, stamps in albums, and collections of things Helena didn't even have names for. One box contained nothing but documents, deeds, certificates, papers with official seals. Helena's mind was reeling too much to read carefully, but she caught fragments: property rights, land grant, mineral rights, trust fund. At the very back of the closet, she found a metal strongbox. It too had a lock, and there was a small silver key in a wooden box on the dresser. Helena tried it. It worked. Inside were bundles of papers wrapped in plastic, and on top of them, an envelope with Helena's name. Helena sat back on her heels, surrounded by contents of the secret closet, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. Her hands shook as she opened the envelope. The letter inside was written on several pages. My dearest Helena, if you found this room, it means you survived. It means you made it here despite everything. I'm so proud of you, Mija. You're probably confused looking at all these things. Let me explain. These items belong to my mother, your great-grandmother Eleanor, and her mother before her. They came from the old country, from a time when our family had wealth. When my parents came to America, they brought these things, their inheritance, their insurance. But America was not kind to immigrants. My parents lost everything trying to establish themselves here, everything except these items, which they hid away. When I inherited them, I could have sold them. They're worth considerable amount. The paintings alone would fetch thousands, maybe tens of thousands. The land deeds are for property that has appreciated enormously. The trust fund, which I established years ago, has been growing with compound interest for decades. But I didn't sell them, because I saw what was coming. I saw my own children growing up selfish and greedy. I saw them looking at you, sweet Helena with your generous heart, and I knew they would exploit that kindness. I knew they would take from you until there was nothing left. So I hid it all. I told everyone the cabin was worthless. I kept it sealed, paying taxes from my secret account. And I waited, knowing that someday you would need it. Everything in this closet is yours now, Helena. The paintings can be sold. The documents represent land ownership. The trust fund is in your name now. When you contact the bank listed in the documents, they will help you access it. But more than the money, this cabin is yours. It's paid for, the deed is in your name, and no one can ever take it from you. This is your home. This is your security. This is my gift to you. Not just wealth, but safety. Helena read the letter 3 times, tears streaming. She sat surrounded by a hidden fortune her grandmother had preserved for 25 years. When she finally composed herself, she went to check on Maya, needed to see her daughter's face. She pushed open Maya's door quietly. The girl was fast asleep, curled under the quilt, face peaceful in moonlight. Helena noticed something on the nightstand, a small porcelain doll, old-fashioned with painted face, dressed in lace. Maya must have found it before bed. Helena picked up the doll carefully. On the bottom of its dress, embroidered in tiny letters, was a name, Rosa. Helena's breath caught. This had been her grandmother's doll, and somehow Maya had found it, had claimed it, had taken it to bed like a talisman. Helena set it back gently. She wouldn't mention it yet. Let her daughter have this comfort, this connection to a great-grandmother she'd never met, but who had saved them both. Helena woke to birdsong outside her window and the gentle rush of the creek. For a moment she didn't remember where she was. Then it all came flooding back. The cabin, Rosa's letter, the hidden inheritance. She sat up quickly. But no, she was really here in her grandmother's cabin. With morning sunlight streaming through windows, she herself had unboarded. She heard movement downstairs, got up quickly. But when she reached the stairs, she found Maya in the kitchen, attempting to make breakfast. "I found oatmeal in the pantry," Maya said, looking up with a smile, "and there's honey that's still good. I was trying to figure out the stove, but I think I need help." Helena's heart swelled. Her daughter was smiling, was trying to do something normal. These small acts felt like miracles. "Let me show you," Helena said, moving to the stove. "We need to build a fire first." Together they figured out the stove, got the fire going, soon had a pot of oatmeal cooking. They ate it with honey and canned peaches sitting at the dining table. "Mom," Maya said between bites, "this place is amazing. It's like Grandma Rosa knew exactly what we would need." She did. She knew me better than I knew myself. After breakfast, Helena made a decision. She needed to explore more thoroughly, understand what resources they had, and most importantly, examine all documents in Rosa's hidden closet. But first, she wanted to share something with Maya. "Baby, I need to show you something important that Grandma Rosa left for us." She led Maya upstairs to Rosa's bedroom, through to the pantry closet that held the hidden fortune. Maya's eyes went wide, taking in the paintings, the boxes, the carefully preserved treasures. "What is all this?" "This is our family's history. These things belong to your great-great-grandmother. Grandma Rosa kept them hidden, kept them safe, so that when we needed help, we would have it." She showed Maya some of the paintings. She showed her the jewelry boxes, the silver tea sets. "Are we rich now?" Maya asked, voice small and uncertain. "I don't know exactly what it all means yet. But yes, I think Grandma Rosa left us enough to be okay. More than okay. We're not going to be homeless anymore, Maya. We're going to be fine." Maya hugged her mother tightly. They stood there among the treasures, just holding each other. After they pulled apart, Maya noticed something Helena had overlooked. At the very back of the closet, partially hidden behind wrapped paintings, there was another door. "Mom, what's that?" Maya pointed. Helena pushed aside some boxes to get a better look. It was indeed another door, smaller than the main closet entrance, with a different kind of lock, more modern, more secure. "I don't know." Helena tried the silver key that had opened the closet, but it didn't fit this lock. This was different, a combination lock, like a safe. "Did Grandma Rosa say anything about this in her letters?" Maya asked. Helena thought back. Rosa had mentioned the pantry closet, but said nothing about a second door. No combination provided. No. She didn't say anything about this. Maybe it's empty. Maybe it's just storage. But Helena didn't think so. If Rosa had put a combination lock on it, separate from everything else, it meant something inside required extra security. Helena spent hours examining everything more carefully. She found documents showing Rosa had established a trust fund decades ago, property deeds for several parcels, stock certificates. Each discovery added to the picture of just how wealthy Rosa had been. But her eyes kept drifting back to that second locked door. What was behind it? Why had Rosa secured it separately? That evening, Helena returned to Rosa's bedroom while Maya played downstairs. She sat on the floor in front of the mysterious door, studying it. The combination lock was a dial type, with numbers from 0 to 99. She thought about her grandmother. Rosa had been methodical, careful. She wouldn't have locked something without leaving a way for Helena to access it. Helena went through the strongbox again. Nothing mentioned a combination. She checked dresser drawers, the wardrobe under the bed. Nothing. Then she remembered the wooden box on the nightstand, the one that had held the silver key. She picked it up, examined it in light. It was beautifully carved, with flowers and vines. She ran her fingers over the carvings, and then she noticed something. On the bottom of the box, carved so finely they were almost invisible, were numbers. 5 to 12 to 73. Helena's heart began to pound. December 25th, 1973. That was the date Rosa had died. With trembling hands, Helena returned to the locked door. She turned the dial carefully. 25. Click. 12. Click. 73. Click. She pulled the handle. The door opened. Beyond the door was not just a closet, but a small room, perhaps 6 by 8 feet, with shelves lining the walls, and on those shelves were things that made Helena's breath catch. This wasn't storage. This was a vault, a repository of the most valuable items Rosa had possessed. On one shelf were velvet bags that jingled when Helena picked them up. She opened one and gold coins spilled into her hand. Not regular currency, but collectible coins, each in protective plastic, stamped with dates from different countries and eras. Another shelf held small boxes containing jewelry, not costume jewelry, but real gems, diamonds and emeralds and rubies set in antique gold and platinum. Each piece was wrapped individually in tissue paper and labeled with a tiny tag describing its origin. A third shelf contained bound documents, organized in files. Helena pulled out one and began reading. It was a trust fund statement, but the numbers made her gasp. The balance was not in thousands or even tens of thousands, it was in hundreds of thousands. Rosa had built a fortune in secret, had preserved and protected it through careful investment, all to ensure Helena would be taken care of when catastrophe came. At the bottom of a leather portfolio were photographs, old photographs showing people in formal dress standing in front of grand buildings. More recent photographs showed Rosa as a young woman standing in front of various properties, a storefront, an apartment building, a warehouse. Attached to each photograph was a document, deeds, ownership papers, evidence that Rosa had owned far more property than anyone in the family had known about. At the bottom of the portfolio was an envelope marked, "For Helena, read last." With shaking hands, Helena opened it. "My dearest granddaughter, if you've found this room, it means you've been thorough and persistent. Everything in this room represents the complete truth of our family's wealth. The trust fund alone will provide income for you and Maya for the rest of your lives if managed properly. But I didn't hide this wealth just to give you money, Helena. I hid it to give you power. The power to make choices. The power to say no to people who would exploit you. The power to build a life on your own terms. Use this wealth to create security, yes, but also to create joy. And if you choose to help others, and knowing your generous heart, I suspect you will, do it from a position of strength, not desperation. The cabin is yours free and clear. The properties are in your name. The trust fund has you listed as the sole beneficiary. I've prepared everything so it will be easy for you to claim your inheritance. But be careful, Mija. Don't tell your siblings about this wealth. Greed makes people do terrible things. Let them think you're still struggling. Live quietly, live well, and protect yourself and Maya. You've suffered enough, you've sacrificed enough, now live. Really live. That's all I ever wanted for you. With eternal love, Grandma Rosa." Helena sat on the floor of the secret room, surrounded by generations of accumulated wealth, and cried tears of relief, gratitude, and overwhelming love for a grandmother who had seen her, understood her, and protected her. Maya found her there an hour later, still sitting among the treasure. "Mom, are you okay?" the girl asked, worry in her voice. Helena looked up at her daughter and smiled through tears. "Yes, baby, I'm more than okay. Come here. I need to show you something." She showed Maya the secret room, explained what the items meant, helped her understand that their lives had changed in ways neither had dared imagine. "Does this mean we don't have to leave?" Maya asked, voice small and hopeful. "We can stay here. This can really be our home." "Yes," Helena said, pulling her daughter close. "This is our home, for as long as we want it to be, and we're going to be okay, better than okay. We're going to be safe and secure and happy." "Because of Grandma Rosa?" Maya asked. "Because of Grandma Rosa," Helena confirmed. "She loved us, even though she never met you. She loved us enough to plan for this, to make sure we would be okay no matter what happened." That night, as they lay in their beds in the cabin that was truly theirs, both Helena and Maya felt something they hadn't felt in so long. They felt like they had a future, not just survival, not just getting through each day, but an actual future full of possibilities. Outside, the mountain night was dark and full of stars. The creek whispered its eternal song, and inside, surrounded by love of a woman who had died 25 years ago, 2 generations finally found their sanctuary. The next few weeks passed in a whirlwind. Helena made multiple trips to Pine Ridge and the larger city beyond, always returning to the cabin each evening. She met with lawyers, signed documents, had her identity verified, and slowly claimed every piece of the inheritance Rosa had left. The trust fund was transferred into Helena's name. The checking account followed. Property deeds were updated. The lawyer worked tirelessly to push everything through. Helena hired an art appraiser who made a special trip to the cabin. When he delivered his assessment 2 weeks later, Helena was shocked. "Miss Castellano, the collection your grandmother preserved is worth between $200,000 and $300,000, possibly more at auction." The jewelry was similarly appraised. The gold coins were authenticated. Each assessment added to the picture of just how wealthy Rosa had been. During this time, Helena told no one, not her siblings, not her cousins. As far as anyone knew, she had simply moved away with Maya. She used money from the checking account to stock the cabin properly. She bought a generator for electricity. She hired a local handyman to help repair the roof and install a proper bathroom with running water. She bought clothes for Maya, warm clothes suitable for mountain living. She bought books and art supplies. She stocked the pantry with real, fresh food. She made the cabin not just livable, but comfortable. One evening, about a month after they'd first arrived, Helena was organizing the last documents. She noticed an old trunk in Rosa's room she'd somehow overlooked. In the corner beneath the window was an old trunk. She'd noticed it before, but assumed it held linens. Now she realized it had a lock. She tried the silver key. It fit. The lid lifted with a creak. Inside were more letters, dozens of them, bundled together, organized by date. And on top was a large envelope with Helena's name. Helena opened it with trembling hands. "My dearest Helena, if you found this trunk, it means you've settled into the cabin, claimed your inheritance, and begun building your new life. I hope by now you understand how much I loved you. But I need to tell you more. I need to tell you why I did this, why I chose you and only you to receive this inheritance. When I was young, I was like you. I had a good heart. I helped everyone, and I sacrificed my own needs for others. I married young, gave birth to your mother and her siblings. I thought I was doing everything right, but my children grew up selfish. They learned from their father, who was greedy. They learned to take without giving. I watched them become people I didn't particularly like. When your mother had you, I saw something different from the start. You were sensitive, empathetic, always thinking of others. I recognized the danger in that. I had been that way once, and I had been hurt by it. But I didn't want you to become hard and bitter like I had. I wanted you to keep your beautiful, generous heart, so I decided to give you something that would protect you while allowing you to remain kind. Financial security. These letters in the trunk are from your great-grandmother. She wrote them over years, telling me about our family history, about wealth brought from the old country, about struggles of being immigrants. She made me promise to preserve what we had, to pass it on to whoever would honor the sacrifice that went into creating it. I watched, and I chose you. Helena read the letter 3 times. Then she looked into the trunk. She removed bundled letters, setting them aside. At the bottom, she found a false bottom that lifted out easily. Beneath it was a small wooden box, intricately carved, clearly very old. Helena lifted it out gently. Inside the box, nestled in faded velvet, was a necklace. Stunning, a pendant of worked silver with a large sapphire at center, surrounded by smaller diamonds. The craftsmanship was exquisite. There was a note tucked beside the necklace, written in Spanish. Helena's Spanish was rusty, but she could make out the gist. This belonged to my mother and her mother before her. It represents our family's pride, our dignity, our refusal to be broken. Wear it, knowing you carry the strength of generations of strong women. Helena lifted the necklace, clasped it around her neck. The pendant lay cold against her skin, but as she wore it, it seemed to warm. She looked at herself in the mirror. She saw a woman worn by hardship, but not broken. She saw a woman who had survived, who had protected her daughter, who had earned every bit of the fortune that was now hers. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for believing in me. Thank you for this miracle. 3 months after Helena and Maya first arrived, the transformation was complete. The cabin now had electricity from solar panels. The well provided clean water piped into a proper bathroom. The kitchen had a refrigerator alongside the original wood stove. Maya had her own room, painted soft blue with shelves full of books and a desk for schoolwork. Helena had enrolled her in Pine Ridge's local school. Though Maya had been nervous, she'd quickly made friends. The legal proceedings had finalized. The trust fund was producing monthly interest, more than enough to live on. The property deeds had been transferred. The cabin and its surrounding 30 acres were registered in Helena's name. Helena had sold one smaller parcel, bringing in an additional $100,000 for Maya's college fund and emergency savings. The art collection had been catalogued but not sold. Helena kept most pieces. A few she donated to the local museum. What amazed Helena most was how quickly their lives had stabilized. In less than 3 months they'd gone from homeless to secure. But healing would take time. They both still had nightmares sometimes. They both still flinched at sirens. They both still hoarded food. Healing would take years, but at least now they had security to heal properly. On a Saturday morning in early spring, exactly 4 months after they'd first arrived, Helena and Maya stood on the front porch looking out at their land. Snow had melted. First green shoots were pushing through earth. The creek ran high with snowmelt. "Mum, can I ask you something?" "Of course, baby. Anything." "Why us? Why did Grandma Rosa choose to help us?" "Because she saw something in me she recognized. She saw someone who would use this gift to build something good. She saw I had a generous heart, and instead of letting the world punish me for that, she wanted to protect me." That afternoon, Helena made a decision. She called her lawyer and explained what she wanted to do. She wanted to set up a charitable fund to help single mothers in crisis. "I want to call it the Rosa Castellano Foundation, in honor of my grandmother, and I want to fund it with income from the trust fund, maybe $100,000 a year." They worked out the details. The foundation would provide emergency grants to women in situations similar to Helena's. Women who had exhausted resources caring for others. Women facing eviction. Helena told Maya about the foundation over dinner. "I want to help people who are in the situation we were in. People who are good and kind, and because of that, they've been taken advantage of." "That's good, Mom. That's what Grandma Rosa would want." "I think so, too." As spring turned to summer, the cabin transformed. Helena created gardens with vegetables, herbs, and flowers that attracted butterflies. She made it not just a house, but a home full of life. Maya thrived. Honor roll, volleyball team, real friends. Helena watched her daughter bloom and felt her heart heal. One evening in late summer, the bank manager called. "There's a developer interested in buying land in your area. Property values are about to increase significantly. Thank you for letting me know, but I'm not interested in selling. This is my home." After hanging up, Helena went outside to sit on the porch in the rocking chair that had been Rosa's. Sun was setting, painting the sky in brilliant shades. Maya came out, sitting on the steps. "What are you thinking about, Mum?" "I'm thinking about how different our lives are now. I'm thinking about how close we came to losing everything, and how Grandma Rosa saved us, even though she died 25 years before we needed her. I wish I could have met her." "Me too, baby. But in a way we know her, through this cabin, through the letters, through the care she put into preparing for us." As stars began appearing, Helena felt profound peace. She thought about the journey, the pain, the loss, the fear, and what they'd found at the end: safety, security, home. "Maya, I want you to remember something important." "What, Mom?" "When you grow up, I want you to remember where we came from. I want you to remember what it feels like to have nothing. And I want you to help people who are in that position, the way Grandma Rosa helped us." "I will. When I'm grown up, I want to help people too. You can be anything you want. That's the gift Grandma Rosa gave us. Not just money, but choices." They sat together as night fell. Inside, lamps glowed. The garden showed first signs of vegetables. The creek sang its song. Helena whispered into darkness, "Thank you, Grandma Rosa. Thank you for seeing us. Thank you for saving us. Thank you for giving us a home." The cabin stood as it had for generations, a sanctuary in the mountains. It had weathered storms and seasons, sheltering those who needed shelter. And now, with Helena and Maya living within its walls, the cabin's story continued. A new chapter in a long history of strong women who survived, who preserved, who protected what mattered most. Lights burned warm in windows. Smoke rose from the chimney. Inside, a mother and daughter built a life together, surrounded by love of a grandmother who had prepared a miracle and left it waiting. This was home. This was sanctuary. This was legacy. This was the miracle proving love transcends time, that family bonds survive death, and that sometimes when you've lost everything you find what you've been searching for.